etiquette and tips for GOA parties, and to share my LSD trip. I don't recommend or discourage taking LSD for the first time at a GOA party. I am merely sharing my experience. Do your research and make your own educated decisions. Set and setting. This weekend, I and my friends went to a long-anticipated small niche Goa festival on the beach of Den Haag, Netherlands. It was our first time rolling with LSD, but not our first time using psychedelics. We have experience with psilocybin, medicine, MDMA, salvia, THC, and alcohol. We grow shrooms ourselves as well. The festival was a small 30-meter fenced venue on the beach. It was beautifully decorated and the people were terrific. The party started at 20 miles and ended at 4 squawa. I am used to techno raves that last upwards of 8 mile in the morning, so I was a bit worried that the party was too short. This would later turn out to not be the case. Ingestion. We took our blotters around 9:30 after exploring the venue and getting to know the crowd. After almost losing our blotters in the wind, which is a whole story in itself, we put them under our tongues and held them there for about 30 minutes. Once the body high started to come on, we started dancing. Come up. Not long after we hit the dance floor, we started to notice fractals in our vision similar to what we saw with Medocine for Homet. This is where things started to speed up. Around this time was a pretty sudden shift in my mental state, as if I became a new fresh clean slate. My friends and I almost completely forgot where we were and, more importantly, why. This turned out to be very frightening and was something we battled with the entire trip. It felt as if someone dropped us off in a new dimension and told us to find a way to survive. Peak. The hallucinations were absolutely overwhelming. It was like we were on a completely different planet. The sand turned into faces and hands emerged out of the ground, holding onto people's feet as they walked around. Whilst dancing, someone in the crowd pointed at the ground, presumably to show someone something. I looked at where he pointed and a giant snake slithered over the ground and threw my feet, after which it disappeared in the crowd. After dancing for a little while, the sun had set, and we went to sit down to take a rest, whilst looking at people dancing with fire poi. After talking and discussing for a while about where we were and what we were supposed to do, we eventually stood up again. We decided we would try to get some water, but we quickly noticed this would be a bigger challenge than we anticipated. Our minds didn't work like they were supposed to. Simple tasks became impossible to complete, and planning our trip to the toilet felt like an impossible feat. The toilets in which we could refill our bottles were inside the beach bar that the festival was built around. This meant we would have to somehow go inside the busy bar and figure out how to get to the toilet and pay for entry. The problem was that we were almost completely unable to communicate using normal language. All our communication inside our group went through abstract concepts and felt like telepathy, so communicating properly with people outside the group felt impossible. After what felt like 20 minutes of planning, which turned out to really be 4 minutes, we decided that me and a friend of mine would embark on the trip to the toilets. We walked into the brightly lit bar, and we quickly found ourselves in the middle of a room full of people. It was very overwhelming. The room was completely different from when we did our exploration before taking the LSD. The walls were morphing, the table legs had turned into literal arms and legs, and the faces of people inside turned into animals and monsters. After a couple of attempts of going in and out of the room, we finally fully committed and managed to find the entrance to the toilet. We tried to pay for the toilet pass part out, but the lady just let us through without. This was a big step for us to get comfortable in our new state of existence.